Alright guys, what's happening? Welcome to another episode of Bob's Garage. So, as you can see, we've made some progress on the car. I got the engine and trans back in the car. Got a bunch of stuff hooked up already. Got all the electrical connectors are in place on the firewall. We got the main ECU installed and all that. The vacuum line's going into the first firewall. Our set. We got our connectors over here, all nice and tidy. Now there's still a little bit left on the front here. Before I complete this job, I wanted to try to address a coolant leaking, a coolant leak issue that I was having. I presume it is the gasket that's behind the metal thermostat housing, but you can see it's behind this black cover, and which means we got to remove the timing belt. So, not really looking forward to messing with that, especially after all the work I've done on the car so far. But you can see all this shit. I didn't even clean the front of the engine yet. I figured I could do that at any point in time. But I believe all that was coolant and power steering fluid. Now, I am about at my wit's end with this car, like everyone gets at one point or another. And it's not even any of that stuff. It's something as simple as my frickin' pinch bolt. Here it is. This is the driver's side. I still have yet to install the driver's side axle. I was able to weasel it out when I pulled the engine, but when I put the engine back in, I just decided to leave it out, and I was like, you know what, I want to get this pinch bolt out, kind of clean this all up. So people were like, oh, heat it up. Yeah, fuck yeah. Oh yeah, it's so easy. So I heated it. I actually used MAP gas, not like someone's like, oh, you got some bitch ass, torch. Like, no, dude, fucking MAP gas. Chill out. And yeah, so now I torched my upper control arms. Not sure if that was necessary or not. You can see this nut is fucked. It's completely done. I was told that this pinch bolt is supposed to be able to spin freely. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that. There's a gap. There's a... Oh, maybe I can get it out now. I didn't even notice that before. Why does... I don't even think that's the right size wrench. I wonder why this shit was falling apart. What? Huh. Okay, I'm gonna have to play with that some more, but... So what I did was I applied heat from below. Oh, I'm sorry with this camera. Applied heat from below. So I basically shot the heat up from the bottom to minimize the amount of fucked up upper control arm action would happen. That didn't really matter. They're fucked regardless. So great. Awesome. That's something else I need to address now. If and whenever I can get this actually out. Now... That's my first major issue. So I'm trying to get this out just so I can replace this axle. I have the replacement axle still in the bag. This is the driver's side. The passenger side, you guys may remember I have a video where I already did the passenger side. So the passenger side, well, I got that blocking. Passenger side's it's in. It's lined up. It's not bolted in, but it's in there. Now, underneath the car here, this is the transmission electronics or cable that plugs into the trans. Right there is where it plugs into. This ring on the outside of it, this piece right here, that ring is kind of like a badass German locking mechanism. So you're supposed to be able to put the cable in the coupling up there, and then you twist that outer ring, and it spins and twists and locks and is badass. It really is awesome how it works. When I pulled the engine, this cable was obstructed or something. I think something hit that cable. I don't know, one way or another, that locking ring completely came off of this wire that we're looking at right now. So I dicked around with it, and I was trying to get it right. I couldn't get it on properly, and I finally got it to lock on.
And I tried to, you know, test it out, and I put it up in here, and it won't like engage properly. So I presume that this was locked in the in the wrong position. Okay, well, I can't get this back off now. So before I couldn't get it to lock on or to stay on, I'm fucked right now. So I can't connect up my transmission, and I'm losing my mind. I've tried putting like channel locks or vice grips or no, channel locks back here to hold it while I like twist on this and try to get it out. There's it's not gonna show up on the camera, but there's like three almost like teeth that guide it, and then there's also like in between those, it's like, you know, in like three different quadrants. In between those three, there's like three little locking tabs that lock this ring to the cable. I can't get a screwdriver in like in between here. I mean, I can get a screwdriver in there, but it's not doing anything. You can't see anything from the backside of this connector, and I'm about to lose my freaking mind. So this is something that I should never have had to deal with, and I'm like gonna lose an entire day fucking with this. I'm so pissed right now. So, I don't think this is probably anyone's ever had this problem before. And, you know, so like if you look here, the main plug is keyed. So it has to be properly aligned up in it's probably not going to show up in here. There's keys up in there that align. But the way it spins and locks and all that is pretty badass. But at the same time, like, it's got to be perfect. So I'm just like, we're great. I can't even plug in my transmission. So those are my two issues I'm dealing with, like, right this moment. I am at wit's end, but I got to make some fucking progress here. So I'm back out. I don't know. I'm thinking of, like, trying to connect, like, my drive shaft, my exhaust, the linkage and stuff. Or I might just go to fucking bed at this point because I'm just so pissed. I am so mad. Oh. So I wanted to have this done this weekend. I was like, oh yeah, and once the engine and trans are back in, everything else goes pretty easily. But if you think about it, like, these issues I'm dealing with are like shit that I should never be dealing with. Like, the pinch bolt, like, whatever. But this transmission thing, it's like, really? Fucking really? And then this coolant leak, now I gotta rip the whole front of the engine apart. I don't know. I think I gotta take a break. I gotta walk away. So I'm that's it, guys. I don't know what to tell you, but this bitch is gonna be done one way or another, and I'm fucking losing my mind over this thing. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So I can't remember for the life of me if I had torqued the bolts that go in between the engine and the trans on the bottom. I know for sure we did the top bolts. There's like 6 of them. I don't know, man. I'm tired. I'm so tired of working on this shit. So now I gotta find out how to do upper control arms on this prick, which I'm guessing means I gotta rip apart this entire, like, everything over here. Which, great, yay, awesome. I didn't know, but this pinch bolt's supposed to spin freely. Someone had the idea of, they said, put 2 nuts over here, and then hit the outer one with a impact, and because you got 2 nuts that are basically like locked together, it should bust this pinch bolt. What? There it goes. Sorry. It should bust this pinch bolt free. So I don't know. I must be getting there. I can see a little bit of a gap. So I don't know if I should just heat this up and keep beating on it, or I don't know. I'm tired. All right, guys. There you have it. I got it out. So I found out that this bolt, the pinch bolt, is supposed to actually turn freely. So what I did was I put a 16 millimeter on my breaker bar here, and put it on the end of the bolt head,
and then using my huge cheater bar, I attached that to this guy, and I just wiggled it back and forth. Once I was able to kind of get this to kind of like move, twist a little bit, then I still had the nut on this end. It was still in the system. I just beat the shit out of that nut with a full-size sledgehammer. Careful not to hit your wheel well, but basically swinging in at this angle here. Boom! Got it out. Now I am dealing with another problem. I still can't even get these upper control arms out of the spindle. So these guys are stuck in there still. But I'm one step closer. What a pain in the ass. I don't know how this is going to work once I get it back together without changing out those upper control arms. I don't know, guys. I'm tired. I'm tired of dealing with this stuff. So I don't know if you got to take off this entire assembly just to be able to swap out the upper control arms. I'm gonna have to look into that. That'll be another episode. Yay! But that's how you get it out. So to recap, I did heat it. I did use some like WD-40 on it. I beat it. So I kind of did all three. Once I beat it out to where the bolt was flush with this, I used like just like a long number 5 hex, and I kind of lined it up here in the hole, and then I beat on this end with just a normal hammer all the way until I pushed the bolt out. So even once I got this to spin freely, I still had to beat on it like really hard. And I don't know if this will show up, but this thing is just done. I mean, the bolt itself looks bent. I don't know, maybe from someone hit a curb or something over time. Probably also explains why these upper control arms are seized in there. I'm gonna see if there's like a tool to pop these things out or something, or maybe I'll just ask or call AutoZone and ask them. I don't know. I know there's something. I think there's like it's like a like prongs, and when you tighten it, it pops it up. Might be worth it. Apparently these cars have nothing but problems. So when you're installing a new bolt, they're saying make sure to use anti-seize, and it makes sense. I live in Chicago, and there's a lot of salt and shit on the roads and stuff. I mean, look at the threads. They're just done on the end there. I'm surprised I was even able to get that out, being so bent. Other ways people say to do it are to cut when it's in here. Cut the threads flush with this, and then put like a punch or something and beat it out. I'm guessing because these threads, like here, look at this. This thing is totally deformed, destroyed, you name it. If you weren't smart enough to beat on the nut that was screwed onto the bolt, and you beat just on the bolt head, you're gonna fuck it up, and it's not gonna fit back through the hole. So this is still the same diameter, but you would flatten it out, much like this is. I mean, it's not gonna show up on camera, but you guys kind of get the idea. It's like mushroomed over the edge. So that's it. I'll maybe add another clip to this once I get this off and stuff, but I'm just beside myself. This is just ridiculous. So stay tuned for more. Alright guys, here we are. We are back in the garage after a TV timeout, and check this out. We have the upper control arms removed. Obviously we have the pinch bolt out. And what else? Oh, look at that. A brand new or practically new Raxle. Look at that sexy bastard. So I had removed these two, popped off that, and I was able to wiggle in the new axle. What I'm going to do is finish bolting everything back together. So I'm going to loosely, that's the old axle. I think they call them axle nuts, but it's obviously a bolt. I'm going to grab a new one. Those should be one-time use, I believe. So I did buy a new replacement. I'll thread it in here just to hold this axle from popping out. and then I'm going to put together everything else. But I just wanted to provide you guys with an update. So for everything involved, it was a combination of heat, beat, and penetrating oil. Actually, I just used WD-40, which probably might explain some of the issues I was having. But you can see here there's like some shit cooked in there. So I don't know if that's from heating it or what. Maybe the rubber boot melted and flowed down in there. I don't know. But okay, so I mentioned before how to get out the pinch bolt of death. And what some people recommended, which I thought was awesome, was they said to take 2 nuts. No, that's not the, well, that is the right nut. So take 2 nuts and thread them on here, and then after you get both of them kind of touching, then use an impact gun to spin this loose. The reason why I was kind of hung up on this was I thought this was channeled, or whatever you want to call it, kind of like how the steering system works. So I was mistaken. So that bolt, the pinch bolt, should spin freely. So if that was a tip that was really pertinent to me. So after I got the pinch bolt out, what I wanted to explain was, you know, I had these control arms still pinned in here. I could not get them loose. I was beating up on them with a sledgehammer. That wasn't popping them loose. And someone gave me a really cool trick that I thought I wanted to mention here. See these slots or these grooves here and here? Basically, you take a chisel. So here's a normal chisel. I'll get a light on in there in a second. You stick it, hold on. You stick it in this groove and hammer it in there, and it separates and gives you enough room to basically release your control arm, your little pin or whatever it's called. And so a combination of spreading this out with this, followed by a punch. So the punch I use to punch or push out the pinch bolt, and then I also use the punch to push or to pop the control arm pins out as well. So what I recommend is, if you're doing this and having issues, if you don't have air tools or access to beefy air tools, like I said, get yourself a map, torch. I would try this as a last resort because you are going to cook some shit. But put an extension on the or a ratchet or whatever, you got a breaker bar on the end of this. Get this pinch bolt spinning freely. That's step 1. Step 2 is obviously try to get it out. So you don't really want to hammer on the threads. So either put your nut on there or put a punch or an air chisel or something right on the tip, and basically hammer straight in on the bolt, and that'll pop it out. You can try those other couple tips or tricks that people mentioned that I just mentioned myself. And let me know if you have any comments or questions. These pinch bolts are a big pain in the butt. It's a common issue. What someone said to do is to get some anti-seize. So if I remember, I'll show you what that is. But they say get some anti-seize and slather it on to the replacement pinch bolt. And that should make it easier next time you need to remove that or whatever. It should just come right out. Some people are saying they can finger it out. I don't know exactly what that means, but more power to you guys. Yeah. Okay, guys. This is just another follow-up showing you all that I was able to get the upper control arms back in place. For the time being, I'm just going to use these. So I know I torched my boots and all that. We're coming out of winter, so I'm hoping maybe these will last a little bit, and I'll figure this out or replace them at another time. Hopefully they're okay to run like this without those boots on there. I don't know, but I was having problems getting that one in, so I just used a C-clamp and kind of pressed it in while also jacking up the whole thing from the bottom. And here we go. There's our new replacement banjo bolt. I'm sorry, pinch bolt. And this is the stuff I was talking about. Aluminum anti-seize lubricant. So we're going to take that, smear it all over a bolt, and pop it in there. And we should be good to go. Might have to wiggle it in to get it in tight, but let's see. Alright, never used it before. I'm guessing a little dab will do ya, and I think I already used way too much. I'm going to wipe some of this off and slide it in. Okay, that wasn't too bad. The bolt slid right back in, no problem. I'm almost certain that this is the type of shit that they use to paint the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz. Now, this has got aluminum in it, and just figured I'd make a PSA. So, this is called anti-seize, and it basically stays on fucking forever. Um, so those of you that use antiperspirant deodorant, works on the same concept. So your deodorant has aluminum in it, and you put it on, and it lasts. That's how it's able to last like 24 or some of these say 36 hours for deodorant. But when you put that right on your armpit, you're basically introducing aluminum in your lymph node system on your armpit. You know, here and there, or maybe when you go to the gym, might not be that big of a deal. But if you're doing it day in, day out for decades, you might have some issues from, you know, aluminum being ultimately or eventually, you know, introduced into your body. So aluminum in your body is not a good thing. Can cause Alzheimer's and a lot of other issues. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. And uh, to be honest, that's the reason why I don't use antiperspirant deodorant. I don't want to even deal with it. So most people don't even think about it, don't even realize it, but it can also cause dementia and all kinds of onset issues when you're older in life. Having said that, um, yeah. So also you'll notice too, antiperspirant deodorant, you can barely wash it off. It takes a lot more work to wash it off of your armpits. So think about it. But that's it. We are now going to put our nut on. Brand new nut. I got new nut and bolt. Okay, it's spinning on the back. It's not going to show. Well, maybe. The bolt's pushing out, so I got to use two hands. But that's about it. If you are doing this, don't forget, you have to torque all this suspension shit down on when you, under load, I guess you could say. So you don't want to do your final torque and all that until you put the car back down on the ground and basically put some weight on this linkage and suspension and all that. So don't forget. Otherwise, let's say I didn't have this jacked up and it was hanging, it wouldn't be at like ride height basically. So then all this linkage and control arms and shit would be bound up. And then, you know, when you lower it down, it'd be bound up and squeak and rattle and rub and cause all kinds of issues. So I think I touched base on that in a different video. But yeah, so we're just going to get this snug. And then when we get the car back down on the ground, I'm going to make a list of all kinds of different things that I need to tighten and check and double check before I drive this car and die. So that's it, I think, for this episode. So stay tuned for more, and don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe, and let me know if you have any questions.